Let me put it on. I got it. I'm going to see what, if the people on CNN are getting upset, that might indicate that that the election is going in Trump's way. Let's see what they're doing over there. But I think the fact that Trump won Ohio, that's big news. But Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are still up in the air, as is Arizona. Let's see. Are the markets doing anything? I mean, gold's still down $7. I mean, really not much. The Dow, I would imagine the Dow would be picking up. Yeah, and it is. I mean, it's up 115, but again, it's not up a lot. So I still don't think the market know who's going to win. So CNN is saying that Trump won Idaho. I don't think that surprises anybody. Oh, I think so. Now CNN is showing the number of the delegates that are for sure, and they've got Biden at 205 and Trump at 136. But I think that really doesn't mean very much, because the states that are in doubt are still pretty numerous. So I mean, it's obviously, Biden gets a lot of delegates for California. I mean, you can call California the minute the polls are closed, and that's a lot of electors. The Democrats, one of the things that they want to do is get rid of the Electoral College. That's one of the things that we know they can't do, because that they need to amend the Constitution. And there's no way the smaller states are going to go to amend the Constitution to basically eliminate the power that they have. I know a lot of people don't like the Electoral College because they say it's undemocratic, and that's precisely what's good about it. I mean, it's unfortunate that the senators are elected by the people. I mean, that was much better when the senators were appointed by the state legislatures, because that gave the states a lot more power, which is what the states are supposed to have. I mean, this is supposed to be a federation of states. The states are supposed to have more power than the federal government. And at least the Electoral College helps preserve some of the power of the states, because it's the states that are electing the president, not the people themselves. And if you have a high concentration of people in states like California or New York, they don't determine who the president is, right? You still have these smaller states that have lower populations that are states on equal footing. They have the same 2 senators, right? A small state like Rhode Island has the same number of senators as a large state like California. What's democratic about that? Nothing. There's nothing democratic about that. But we're not supposed to be a democracy. And so, the Electoral College is one of the few good things that we got left. So we certainly don't want to demolish that. And there's certainly, to say that, Biden should have been, or Hillary should have been president because she won the popular vote. No, it's not about winning the popular vote. It's about winning the Electoral College. Now, a lot of times you win both. I mean, most of the people who have been elected president have won the popular vote and the Electoral College. I mean, generally, that's what happens, but it doesn't always happen. What's more important is winning the electors, not the population. Oh, now they're showing Arizona, but Biden seems like he has a pretty good lead in Arizona right now. Not sure what percentage of the vote, but Donald Trump, of course, winning by a large margin in Nevada. So, but I think they just started counting the votes. Obviously, out west, the polls just closed, so hard to say about those races. But let's see, what question am I at? Guy says he'd like to thank me and Mike Maloney because both of you, I went heavily into gold and silver back in 2015. Yep. And Mike Maloney is one of my fellow residents here of Puerto Rico. Mike, actually, I came here before Mike. I remember when Mike Maloney was thinking about coming to Puerto Rico, he visited me here. and he and his team came out and checked it out. We went out to dinner, and he ended up moving here too. This is from Sam. When the dollar loses its bid on gold, what do miners do? Aren't all currencies dollar derivatives? So it's a race to the bottom with the U.S. dollar falling. Yeah, I mean, it is a race to the bottom. I mean, that's the problem with fiat currencies. I do think the dollar wins the race. I mean, that's it. I mean, all currencies sink at different rates, and I think the dollar is going to sink faster. That's going to be the problem. I mean, the dollar had been sinking more slowly. That's why, gold is at record highs in every currency. In fact, it made a record high against the dollar too, eventually. But it was making record highs in every other currency before, another way of saying that it's not that gold was making record highs, but that fiat currencies were making record lows. And you were seeing the record lows in the amount of currency needed to buy an ounce of gold. And that's going to continue to happen for all currencies. Why do I think gold will decouple during the next stock market crash? I mean, a lot of times already has. I mean, you can see days where the stock market goes down and gold goes up. But there are a number of times where they move together. And I think because they're all dancing to the same tune, and that's the Fed. But I do think at some point, the gold markets are going to recognize that when the stock market is tanking, that's good for gold, because the Fed is always going to respond to a weak stock market by printing more money. So at some point, instead of gold going down with stocks and then going up when the Fed prints money to prop up stocks, gold will start anticipating the Fed pumping money and go up right away. Instead of going down and then going up, gold will just go straight up. And eventually, gold is the real beneficiary of all this inflation. I mean, it's not the stock market. The stock market doesn't benefit from a lousy economy, but gold will. So I think that people who think that the stock market is the best place to hide out when there's a lot of inflation, I think they're wrong. Now, there are going to be some stocks that will benefit, because obviously there are stocks that have real assets and there are stocks that have debt, right? And so companies are owned by the bondholders and the stockholders, and inflation ultimately transfers wealth from the bondholders to the equity holders. And so to the extent that inflation wipes out a company's debt, that works to the benefit of the stockholders. But a lot of it depends on the valuation of the company. I mean, you could way overpay for your stocks. And so U.S. stocks are not bargains. They're very expensive. So I don't think a stagflationary environment is really what is going to enrich stockholders. But I think it does enrich people who own gold or gold mining stocks. And I think the market is ripe for people who have invested outside the United States in economies that will benefit from this changing dynamic, and where the markets are not starting from such an overvalued position. There are companies around the world that we're buying that are fairly priced. In fact, a lot of stocks are actually underpriced by objective measures of valuation. And so you can get good deals on stocks that will benefit from inflation. We're buying those stocks. For our clients, we're buying them in our funds. That's why I recommend that people invest with me, and they can adopt the strategy that I have on their own, or they can hire me to do it for them. I'm getting a note that Biden is going to be giving a speech at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's in about an hour and 10 minutes. Wonder what he's going to be talking about. I mean, a lot of people would be hoping that it's a concession speech. I tend to doubt that, although it seems premature for it to be a victory speech. So not really sure what the speech is about. Don't see any word yet about a Trump speech. Let's see. If the collapse of the dollar is inevitable, shouldn't we also root for the Democrats to win so capitalism won't be blamed? Yeah, I was had that feeling about Obama. I remember thinking, that it was going to hit the fan under Obama. That was one of the silver linings I thought about Obama winning, because again, I underestimated the ability of the Fed to blow a bigger bubble. And I thought that it would, collapse on Obama's watch, and it didn't happen. And it started on Trump's watch, but didn't finish. I mean, the Fed was able to print more money. But yeah, I mean, that's always the thing. I mean, we don't want the collapse to happen.